I have never spoken to Unathi, but she's going to blossom. Yeah. And while I'm the minister, she will represent us on stages. And the ones that were planning, no, this woman must be destroyed, they got something coming. No person must be destroyed. Whether we like people, we must calculate, we must make sure their talent gets appreciated. This thing of South Africa where we destroy people when we don't like them, it must come to an end. It will come to an end with me.
It's fine that you felt sorry for her when she was crying, but to use our public funds now to appease yourselves is where the corruption is. Again, Unathi is not a writer. There are people who are legit writers in this country, people who were invited by the Cubans, and now in your corrupt ways, you have put in who you want to put in. I'm going to be submitting to the public protector because I think what happened is unethical and it's wrong.
Politically incorrect. I don't know how this story broke. All I knew is Ntsiki Mazwai is crying foul because she's been invited to Cuba as an artist, a poet, a writer, and everything. And I don't even know if that thing has happened or not. Without me knowing, Jigi, the Minister of Sports, Art and Culture, is involved in this fracas. And Unathi guy is also involved, and there's a spat on Twitter. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to call Ntsiki to understand from her what could be the problem here. Let me see if we find her. Let's see if we find her.
Hi, Mesh.
Hi, Ntsiki, how's it?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm glad you said you are good. I was doubting if you are good.
No, it is none of this.
Look, man, please clarify for me. And before I go further, just tell me, has the Cuban gig already happened? Have people already sung there? Because we're seeing videos of people there.
Yes, it's already happening. It's happening this week. It was from the 13th to the 23rd.
So already about Nuil.
Yeah.
Askis, man, please just take us through the whole entire process. How did it happen, and when did you first hear of it? Because I think initially what our understanding was is the Cubans said, and I saw the transcript, the WhatsApp, they invited you. And through the sifting of government, you were excluded. And with that exclusion, people who you think are less than qualified than you were slotted in. And just take us through. Maybe I'll ask questions as you unfold it.
Okay. So as like you said, in November last year, I was approached. I got word that the Cuban people in Cuba were looking for me, and they were asking for my number. Then they got my number and they sent me communication. They said, okay.
Yeah, in November.
So they reach out to me and they say they've got a book fair that's dedicated to South Africa. And originally the word was that they're looking for me, Ntate Wali Sarote, and Mama Ankikor. And it was a celebration for Ntate Willie Khositsile, who was being honored. So then we start working. They start translating my poems. We work through my work over the next month or so. Towards the end of January, I reach out to them to be like, Kanti, when is this thing? Then they're like, you know what, we're trying our best with your government this side, but they are excluding you. We've tried, we've spoken to everybody, and your government doesn't want. And then, as you say, now we hear that they are in Cuba, and then we see the list of writers. And the thing about being in an industry is that when you're an industry leader, you tend to know the others, or you tend to be known.
Yes.
So right? So there's nobody there, which means that it's not the best of our best. So, and then we look, some of them, it's people who worked for Patriotic Alliance. Some of them, it's not even legit writers. It's people who've posted on Facebook and they say that's publication. Some of them, they haven't written their own work. They have been co-authored, and they, quite frankly, don't deserve to be there. And what's disturbing about it is that we saw Gayton declare that he's going to support Unathi, right? And it's wonderful, good for him, but can it not be at the expense of the credible writers and the writers who've put in the work? So not only was I called by name and invited by name, and one of the first poets to be invited, I have a master's degree in writing, which I acquired cum laude. I have a best-selling anthology that I wrote by myself. It's not co-authored by anybody. So just speaking on merit, it's unjust and unethical to put in your political connections in the place of people who rightfully deserve the platform. And I also think it's unfair because this was not a government favor, you know. I was called by the Cubans. And I think that what we are missing as a society is that when we pay our taxes, it's for the government to manage those taxes and make sure that everybody benefits. They can't pick and choose who gets to benefit from our taxes.
It's very sad. And you say you've been in the industry,
but I've never received.
You've been in the industry for over 25 years, Ntsiki.
No, guys, I'm 45, remember?
Yes.
I'm 45.
You said 20 years, 25 years.
Yes, 25 years. I started with the beadwork in my 20s when I was 21.
Yeah, man, that's
and the poetry.
And that's 20 years, right?
It's 2025 now. This was 2000.
Yeah, that's a long time. That's a long time.
I've put in the work, and I've always been independent. Aside from the poetry, I also released my own music catalog. So all my stuff has always been done independently, which is also why I've been isolated and victimized, because I own all my intellectual property. So I did the poetry and the music, and then you guys know about my blogs. I've been writing for like close to, I don't know how many years, since social media started. That's actually how I started blogging. Even on my website, you'll find all my writings. And then that's how we finally got to Moya podcast.
So
I've been doing work.
Let's talk about the politics of this politics.
Yeah.
Someone called me and said, Mashan, your girl, man, Kirking. Ario, she's been antagonizing Gayton for a long time now. Gayton has got one back at her. And of course, you have already explained it to say, even though you were critical of Ramaphosa.
It's not in Gayton's place. First of all, I've never antagonized Gayton. I've criticized politics as I do with all political parties, without fear or favor. When they do good, I say it. When they do badly, I say it. So there's no personal feelings involved. I'm a voice in this country. Hence, I'm a writer. And therefore, that's how, in fact, with my writing, when I antagonized President Cyril Ramaphosa, that's how the unemployment grant came out. Because I was like, it's COVID, nobody's working, people are going to die, you have to do something. If you remember how much trouble I got into for that open letter. So I have used my writing to antagonize the government to do the right thing for people. And I'm supposed to do that as an artist. That's my calling. So you'll never find me saying slanderous things or personal things. I speak to the system, and I speak to how it's affecting people on the ground.
So the tweets go in the lines of, because in December 2024 he had promised Unathi that he will take care of her and no one will victimize her under his watch.
Correct.
And they are saying you were the sacrificial lamb.
Guys. Well, clearly, But I think lots of people were sacrificed because lots of people on that list are questionable. We don't know them. They're not. We have got lots of veteran writers that have been excluded. You know, there are many artists that were excluded for people who are unknown and who haven't achieved in the writing sector. Also that translates to is that when we take our delegation to Cuba, we're going to have mediocre work representing South Africa on a global platform.
So besides,
I think that it's not up to...
No, continue. I don't want to cut you.
I just think that it's important that people get the point that it's not in Gayton's place to choose people according to whether he likes them or he doesn't like them. That's not what he's elected to do, and if anything, that shows bad leadership.
Okay, so as the matter stands now, we only see this as an artist in your experience does not look for exposure. So for us who are sitting away from this, far away from this, what's in this? What's in this package? Why are people so... Please explain it to me so I can understand.
No, Mash, imagine if you had achieved in your industry.
Yes.
And rightfully so. And then other people, because your boss doesn't like you, gives opportunities to your juniors. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand that. But
so what was the point of you working all these years?
Is there monetary value?
See, I don't even know if there's monetary value, but I'm just saying that in Cuba, they called for Ntsiki Mazwai by name, and it's not Gayton's right to take away my opportunities that are coming outside the country. Already the government doesn't book me for anything, and they've economically excluded me. But now that I'm getting global attention, they want to block that also. It's wrong, guys.
Is it the government who's paying for this?
Yes, I get it. The government has to pay for whenever artists get invited to things like this. It's part of our international relations vibes. So the government is going to pay for the transport and the accommodation. Also, mind you, some people, 1 or 2 people traveled business class while the rest of the artists were in economy, and then they were put in a 5-star hotel while everybody else was in a 3-star hotel. So there are discrepancies in what's going on.
When Gayton came, he came with a huge list, a huge PDF listing people who got monies and stuff. Do you think after this a report must be written? Do you've got people in parliament who can push this to say as a parliamentary question?
About that was just grandstanding because he did nothing about it. There's a company that was on that list that came on many times, that claimed many times, and when we look it up on CICP, it's owned by white people. Why did Gayton not follow up on that? So Nayeta performance first, basically, which is what he's known for. Gayton, like who was saying in their thingy, it was King Said So podcast, he doesn't have intellectual capacity, guys. And the thing about it is that the arts sector is an intellectual space. So we can't have somebody who is just shallow, no offense, like with all due respect, running such an industry. The reason that artists can speak to people on the ground and speak to kings and queens is because it's an intellectual space. You use your mind. So it's not about clubbing and, you know, the lifestyle we know him for. It's not that. We are academics. We are writers. That's why I've got a master's degree and I will be pursuing my PhD because we are intellectuals. We're academic.
So, as it stands now, the public protector, I have to tell you, I even forgot who the public protector is because that space is so politically dated.
Right? There's no point even going that way.
Yeah, so we're starting to fear this was supposed to be.
That's why my only weapon in this lifetime, in the South Africa, is my voice, and I will continue to use my voice until people stop victimizing me. Now I will not be a victim of the South African government, not when I have a voice.
Is there a political party that you can write to request that the minister, of course you can do this parallel, where you send it directly to the ministry and you also send it to parliament to say in written questions or verbal questions, they must ask the minister to give you a report that states how many people went, what was the payment, which...
Hopefully it'll get there, hopefully it'll get there. My problem is that I get it now, people attack the guys, and I attack everybody without fear or favor, which is something that is quite unique about me as an artist. Other artists, when they're eating, they keep quiet. So hopefully the other artists will take it up, because I know I'm not the only aggrieved writer. There are many exceptional writers who were left out, and I'm hoping that they'll fight. But for me, on my side, I know that my voice is heard across this country, and I'm going to use whatever weapon I've got.
So what's the link with Unathi and Kabomu? Did they pen something together?
Yes, they penned something together, and that's the book that she says that makes her a writer. But my argument is that then we might as well call Bonang a writer, or anybody else who has had a memoir written about them. When somebody writes a memoir about you, yes, of course, you must write down and say, I was born like this, and then they take the work and they work it like a writer does, because writing is a craft and a skill, right? So they pen it and put it together, just as Kabomu used to write her music. It's a skill, it's a craft. And I feel as if Unathi was really a writer, we would know her works. She would have blogs, she would have these long pieces, she would have short stories, she would have poetry. There'd be something we can point to, but we know her as a broadcaster and as a presenter. That we can never take away from her. She's a broadcaster, she's a presenter, but she's not a writer.
And because of the antagonism that is involved with this, I see you are even taking out files of she at some point.
That's because she put up some Instagram post where she's lying. She is literally lying and slandering my name. So I had to be like, guys, the Picasso of lies is starting again. And I was saying, remember with Sizwe Dlomo, even after getting bust with the recordings, she continued. So I think this is just part of her nature, and I'm not going to be a victim of somebody who lies. I'm sorry, guys. Well. And in fact, I used to dress her when she was on Castle Loud. It was even in the credits. So this is what's so wild about her claiming that all the stuff that she's claimed there, like it's crazy. It's completely crazy. Luckily, there are people who know my work who've come up and said, I go, because we remember during her YFM days that House of Mobi used to dress her. So it's really quite absurd, but like I say, I'm not the first person this has happened with her, so I don't really take it to heart. I think maybe it's something with her mind and how she was brought up or something. Something's going on, but it's not my business. Oksalayo Cuba asked for me by name.
So as the matter stands, would you write to the minister's office to seek an audience with him so he could explain this without doing tweets?
You know what? I think that if the minister had any inch of integrity, first of all, he wouldn't have lied. If you remember, he first put out a statement, which is now deleted off his social media. He put out a statement that, now he was doing inclusivity. And the danger with that statement is that other colored writers are coming forward saying, listen, I was called for this by Cuba myself, so how come I'm not included? But instead, people who are in Patriot, who did social media, who Patriot Alliance, are the ones who are going. So do you understand?
Ish.
So he put out that race baiting statement because he knew that that's what you say. It's like when Unathi said that GBV thing, and she knew we would react to GBV. So he did the racism thing because he knew people would react to the racism. But he's being disingenuous, unethical, and just unprincipled. That's why he had to remove the post.
Yo, Ntsiki, I don't know how. Do you think we spoke about it when you were here? Do you think Umullo man Wachabi was? No one wants to be associated with you because of your openness, rawness, and shooting from the hip.
Who's no one? Who's no one? Because I've got a very strong support base. You've also seen that. Like, you can see people follow me, people trust me, people believe me a lot of the time. It's just that I can be polarizing, and I strike national debates, and I've always done that. So there's nothing unique about that. There's nothing bad about me or mean-spirited. It's just that when people don't like the truth, then it makes them uncomfortable and unhappy. But the fact that I've got such a strong following to this day and no one has been able to break me and I'm still standing and now I'm doing Moya podcast by myself, it shows that there's integrity in this woman. It shows.
Ntsiki Mazwai, thank you very much. See you at the gala dinner in May.
I can't wait. Sharp Nash.
Sharp, bye.
Easy.
Eitada. Well, that's the story. I don't know what to make of it. Until Gayton speaks, I think this is where we'll get a picture. Because for what it's worth, Ntsiki spoke about this, and Jiki, there are a lot of complaints. But I'm gonna allow you to listen to the full clip at the end, where Ntsiki speaks about this matter and how. I mean, that's a calm Ntsiki. That's Ntsiki trying to be as calm as you want. Not this Ntsiki of Magunyiwe once. So tell me, what do you make of this? One thing I like about Gayton Mckenzie is he's not a full-on politician. But then politics are biting him. It's a good thing because, I mean, he lives like us. I mean, we are not full-on politicians. The problem with career politicians, they will leave you at corners. But he said at the beginning that he's going to be transparent, and that's why he published that list of people who benefited. And he said this criteria of super fans is wrong, and he wants to do it. If it doesn't serve everyone, then we're not gonna. And then now, I think it's a good example to test him. Now he's a full-on minister. It's something that he found. Remember what they said about the DA when they were warning the GNU guys coming into politics, to say those things that you were shouting at from a distance is now coming to bite you because it seemed easy. The mechanics of running government. So for people who have not studied organizations, the government, a government system, it's a bureaucratic animal. It's an animal of red tapes. Let me just give you a piece of an example. Talk about the Bella Bill. That thing, I mean, it should not be over-consulted because it's something that should have been discussed and agreed upon in CODESA, because the problem of 1976, Soweto and other areas was Afrikaans was a problem. But it took us 30 years for the Bella Bill to be an act. So you think of how long these things take. It takes forever because government is, this animal called government, it's just a red tape bureaucratic thing that is so mechanical. It's not easy to flow around. So it's very difficult to run government. People are blaming and pointing fingers as the ANC. They think it's easy. It's not easy. And Gayton Mckenzie is learning how not easy it is. Because when he came into the office, he took people's list, he published them. Now is the time for him to publish this list. To say, this person went, what is the criteria? Chosen this criteria. This person lose. And then, because when he does that, because he wants transparency, and this is how we started government, that transparency is going to be juxtaposed against what Ntsiki is saying. When Ntsiki was here, we spoke about her credentials, her qualifications. Ntsiki Mazwai she's unfortunate because she's discampaigned a lot. And because they discampaign her, you start thinking maybe she's a nobody. She's well learned, she's articulate, and whatever Gayton is going to throw, she's going to counter it. She's going to say, but no, Gayton, on this one, this is the information we get. So you can't surely tell me that she did not make the list because of criteria. And if what she alleges is true, that there are people who are less qualified than her to be there. So for example, let me talk about myself. I've been writing on Facebook. There was something called Facebook Notes. I've been writing there long time ago. 2009, 2010ish, I've been writing there. So what she says is people who wrote like I did. So the Facebook Notes were like vlogs, no blogs. So we wrote blogs there. So if I wrote those blogs, she's claiming that people who did that are now qualifying. You understand? She's a published author. Because she's not mainstream, I don't want to call publishing names. She's not going to all of those things. Maybe it's why, maybe she was neglected, but she doesn't know she's asking. But Machine Political Incorrect, I don't want to speak much. I just want you to listen to the video at the end where she talks about this point because she needs to get justice from the public protector. I don't know how far will that be, and if her issue is attended very quickly, is it going to be because it's Ntsiki Mazwai, the public protector has prioritized the case? I don't know. Tell me. Because Ntsiki is going through is what a lot of us going through, and she's using her voice as a writer and as a public figure to point out these inaccuracies in dispensing enjoyable rights of South Africans. Writers as artists have given rights of expression, and when they express themselves, this is what they live, their freedom that we fought for. So she didn't answer the question because I wanted to know, maybe Bafazaka, these people going there on those government gigs, pocket money nyana, because it can't just be going to Cuba and speaking Spanish and then coming back. Something, man. Something. I don't know. You tell me. Machine Politically Incorrect. Let me leave it. Is it even Spanish that is spoken in Cuba? I don't know. Eita da hasta la vista. Cuba, the Cabaneros. Eita, Fafutuba Havana. Ntsiki. Sharp. Let's hear where, because he's gonna slap back. Gayton is gonna come back to her. Let's see how far he takes it. He's quiet now, he's laying low. Yeah, it's a bad one, man. I don't want to speak too much. This is Ntsiki. Listen to her. Thank you.
Humble greetings to my community at large. My name is Ntsiki Mazwai, and I've been an artist in South Africa for the past 25 years. In December 2023, I was approached by Cubans. I got communication from Cuba that they wanted to translate my poetry in an anthology dedicated to Ntate Willie Khositsile, who was also a poet. What was also striking was that I was the youngest poet that was invited. I was invited along with the work of Ntate Wale Serote and Anki Koch. They wanted to translate our poetry. Obviously, this was a great privilege, and I was very excited. Towards the end of January, I started getting notification from Cuba that they were having trouble with the South African government and the delegation, and them refusing for me to be in the delegation. Now, I would like to address the Minister of Arts and Culture. To those that much is given, much is expected. We have put you on. Actually, yes, it is we, because we are the public, and government is people who are elected by the public to govern us. And it was brought to my attention that your department took my name off the list to put your people on the list. And I just want to say that as somebody who has been given that position, we expected you to have integrity, we expected you to operate with honor. When the GNU came in, we thought there'd be some kind of difference, because then ANC wouldn't be left to themselves to do as they please. I've been on the blacklist of ANC forever. I don't get ANC gigs. And when GNU came, we thought there might be a change. When the GNU came about, we thought there'd be some change. And when we got a young arts and culture minister, we thought there'd be some change. Now, it seems to me that you feel as if, as the minister, you can do as you please. You can put your friends and give tenders to your friends. and we thought that this behavior had stopped with the ANC. I want to say that, Mr. Mckenzie, my voice is important to this country. My voice has created change for people on the ground. So punishing me for using my voice, well, I've got lots of descriptive words for it, but I'll leave it. My voice has given rise to the unemployment grant. When I wrote an open letter to the president, what resulted of it was that a new grant was created for people. So my voice is important, it matters. It's corrupt for you to put on your own people. It came to our attention that you put in people like Unathi, who's not even a writer or a poet, to be representing us at the book fair. To my understanding, she doesn't even have a book. So for some of us who do have books, we have master's degrees in writings, it is a complete insult for the Cubans to invite us and then you put in your celebrity friends. Also, I just want to bring attention to the fact that it happened, the situation with Unathi and Sizwe happened in public, within our view. So when we saw her crocodile tears about the industry turning on her, she left out the part that she was being held accountable for lying about somebody. We have a great GBV problem in this country, and Sizwe Lomo's name would have been ruined if there had been no recordings of what actually transpired. So if you do your research, you know, it's fine that you felt sorry for her when she was crying, but to use our public funds now to appease yourselves is where the corruption is. Again, Unathi is not a writer. There are people who are legit writers in this country, people who were invited by the Cubans, and now in your corrupt ways, you have put in who you want to put in. I'm going to be submitting to the public protector because I think what happened is unethical and it's wrong and it shouldn't have happened. And then I also wish to ask you to take from the book of Ramaphosa. President Ramaphosa, as much as I've been vocal about him, during COVID, his son donated to the fund I was running for people who were affected by COVID. And also his foundation used my work and they paid me for it. So whilst I am a dissenting voice, he knows how to work with power. So I just wanted you to ask you to just learn from that. You cannot run a department based on your personal feelings about me or anybody else in that matter. When you're in a position of leadership, please behave like a leader.